Oh, baby, baby, the reason I breathe is you. I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time. Uh, um, Poe. Oh, Tigress. This isn't what it seems, Poe. It's exactly what it seems. You picked her over me, and you could have easily have picked me as Dragon Warrior. You've known me for 3 to 4 movies now, and you've known her for just a day or two. Are you kidding me? We are done. Tigress, wait, wait. Kung Fu Panda 4 Skadoosh, the first Kung Fu Panda sequel to sadly not be directed by Jennifer Yu Nelson but by Mike Mitchell this time round, and is the fourth installment in the Kung Fu Panda franchise overall, and the 47th DreamWorks movie. Kung Fu Panda 4 tells the story taking place after the events of 3, where Poe is has now been told by Shifu that he needs to ascend to the rank of spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace, which means he will need to give up being the Dragon Warrior, much to Poe's disappointments. And while he's picking candidates for the Dragon Warrior, don't know why he can't just pick Tigress in a heartbeat. There's no choice. He befriends a thief, Cusack Fox, Zen, voiced by Aquafina, and she, uh, informs him that they needed to go to Juniper City, where she grew up, to stop her mentor, the shape-shifting sorceress, a chameleon from conquering China and taking the kung fu of every kung fu master from the spirit realm. Meanwhile, Poe's two fathers, Mr. Ping and Lee, go after him. I have, for the past 16 years now, been a true Kung Fu Panda fanboy. One of DreamWorks' top 5 franchises. Maybe now my third favorite franchise from DreamWorks, just below How to Train Your Dragon and Madagascar. But if this Kung Fu Panda coating on my PS4 controller doesn't show you how much of a fan I am, I don't know what will. My sister very sweetly got me this, by the way. The first Kung Fu Panda from 2008 is still the most surprising DreamWorks classic. Everybody predicted it was going to suck when they prejudged the trailer, but I knew it was going to kick ass, and I was right. And the bad rip-off movie, The Little Panda Fighter, turned out to be the uh, well, shitty ass movie about a panda that does kung fu that everybody predicted the first Kung Fu Panda would be. And Kung Fu Panda 2 is not only one of the most perfect animated sequels ever made, but one of the most perfect sequels in general. It's had a better use of the Furious Five, better villain, more emotion to it, a darker tone, and a better storyline for Poe, and it's uh, it made me even more of a Kung Fu Panda fan than the first movie did. And at the time, Kung Fu Panda 2 was the highest grossing movie directed by a female director, Jennifer Yu Nelson, until it was surpassed by Wonder Woman in 2017 and Barbie in 2023. And Kung Fu Panda 3, now that is what I'm talking about. I strongly disagree that those with those that call this the weakest Kung Fu Panda movie. I have the polar opposite opinion. It's my absolute favorite, and I will never stop defending it. It's was peak Kung Fu Panda. Po had his peak storyline when he ascended from student to teacher and got to meet his own kind, the Panda Village. Kai was the peak villain. Oogway, my favorite character, got his peak moments, and it had the peak emotional moments. It was the flawless finale to the trilogy. Even the Kung Fu Panda TV show's Legends of Awesomeness being the greatest of them did adds a ton of lore and a depth to the franchise. And even if Paws of Destiny and the Dragon Knight weren't as strong, with the frustrating absence of the Furious Five, and even the shorts were some of DreamWorks' uh, finest, like Secrets of the Furious Five and Secrets of the Scrolls, especially. When Kung Fu Panda 4 was greenlit in August 2022, I was cautiously optimistic, to say the least. Like, it could be even more fitting finale to the franchise than the Furs. It could have given us closure with Typo and other characters, or it could have felt like one too many and just an obvious cash grab. I still put it on my most anticipated movies of 2024 because the other three were never judge a book by its cover movies, and they turned out masterpieces. So with the bar set that high, who wouldn't be hyped for Kung Fu Panda 4? But so we only had one trailer for this movie, with this being DreamWorks' most under-marketed movie since Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken last year. So yeah, with the lack of marketing, and then when this movie released 3 weeks earlier in the US than in the UK, and word of mouth got out that this movie was the dud of the Kung Fu Panda duology, my hype just declined and declined and declined to the point where, yeah, I went in not getting my hopes up. And after seeing Kung Fu Panda 4 for myself, uh, I can honestly say it's way better than Megamind 2, but it still kind of sucks. Okay, maybe sucks is a little harsh. It's not by no means a terrible Kung Fu Panda movie, but it's uh, it's super mediocre, vastly inferior to the first three, and not only the weakest of the four Kung Fu Panda movies, but the most disappointing blockbuster of 2024. Man of DreamWorks had an underwhelming year this year. I did not think I would like the bad guys Puss in Boots: The Last Wish or Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken more than Kung Fu Panda 4, but that's what's happened. I mean, but let's get to the little things that Kung Fu Panda 4 does have going for it. So, for one thing, Jack Black is still uh, the comedy and martial arts king. He is still terrific as Po, dedicating 16 years of his life now to bringing this lovable Panda. Goes to show his true passion for the role and the franchise. And I uh, I did uh, find the joke of Poe having conflict with his inner voice and inner Shifus to be pretty funny. I laughed at this movie less than the first three, but that was one of the few jokes that did well put a smile on my face. Stupendous cover of Britney Spears' "Baby One More Time" by Tenacious D was uh, my favorite part of the entire movie. Yeah, hearing that in the credits was pretty sweet. Not gonna lie. Uh, so, but other than that, I I know Kung Fu Panda 4 does have its share of defenders in the minority that like it more than the average person, but I'm afraid I can't be in that camp. I'm with the camper that's found Kung Fu Panda 4 a major disappointment. Oh boy, we have so much to cover of what Kung Fu Panda 4 did wrong. Like, for the first thing, You know how the five were not in the trailers? Well, the Furious Five are practically not in the movie at all. They just appear for the credits and that's it. We don't even hear them talk because DreamWorks was so lazy and could not give a fuck about getting the voice actors back. And that's hurts the movie because the five are like Poe's family. Poe and the Five's bond grew throughout the first three movies, and now the fact that the franchise just has completely and utterly done them dirty and sidelined them after Kung Fu Panda 3 makes their bond have no payoff, especially Poe and Tigress. Like, why the fuck would Poe not just give the Dragon Warrior role to Tigress if he needed to give it up? Like, I'm sure she'd be happy to accept after she was robbed of her chance of becoming the Dragon Warrior in the first movie. So if you wanted this movie to conclude the typo relationship, well, prepared to have your dreams crushed because we've got to make way for the Furious 5 replacement, Aquafina's Zen. I cringed so hard when I saw her character in the trailer. I was like, no, DreamWorks, don't you dare make her the Furious 5 replacement. You just know right off the bat Poe's gonna pick her to be the Dragon Warrior. It's so predictable. So he pick somebody who he's just become friends with in a day or two, and somebody who betrayed him also over Tigress, who he's known for far longer. I'm sorry, but no. Just no. I was not happy with that resolution. I get that this movie is trying to have a message. Change isn't always a bad thing, but it does it in a more comedic way. So, and it doesn't focus enough on it. I can think of movies that handled this message better. Heck, Barbie handled the message about life being all change way better, and so did The Lion King. You know, Rafiki's line, change is good. In fact, How to Train Your Dragon did the message about life being all change better. Like with the situation with the Birkins and the dragons constantly changing. And without the Furious Five, the Furious Five, the kung fu action in this movie feels flat. It's the most part the kung fu fights are just generic, dull fights between thieves in Mama Ball's tavern, or an escape from the guards in Juniper City. And by the way, that chase in Juniper City looks like uh, well, such a rip-off of the chase through Gongmen City in Kung Fu Panda 2. And I counted this movie copies and rips off several quotes and moments from the previous ones. That's just recycling ideas. That is lazy. Like the line, "Are you ready to do the wrong things from the right reasons?" Zen says to the Den of Thieves. That's Mr. Ping's line when he's talking to Lee in Kung Fu Panda 3. Not only do the Furious Five not do shit, but you know how Tai Lung was hyped up to return in this movie? His return is underwhelming. He's in it for 5 minutes, and I mean, his one fight scene with the chameleon's minions was decent to see him unleash his power again, but then he's just put in a cage and he's just put in a cage for the remainder of the final battle. That's this, and the other two villains, Shen and Kai. Oh boy, are they wasted as fuck. Why is Kai even here? He was obliterated by Poe in Kung Fu Panda 3. Did the writers of this movie forget all about the events of the original three? And Kai and Shen don't talk because DreamWorks lazily didn't get Gary Oldman or J.K. Simmons back to voice them. And why would Shen bow to Po at the end? He was the one that committed genocide on Po's village in two. It makes no sense whatsoever, and uh, it goes to show how uh, the budget for this movie is significantly lower than the first three. The first three movies had a budget of over $100 million. This one just had a budget of 85 million, and there is no excuse to cut the budget for this one so low. If you wanted to make this one the best, you should have extended the budget, but no. And speaking of wasted, Shifu doesn't do jack shit. I thought he was wasted in Kung Fu Panda 2, but at least in the first three movies, he got a fight scene. He doesn't get any involvement in the action here. They just copy what he did in the second and third movie. Po, you need to take the next step on your journey. You can't be the dragon warrior anymore. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, shouldn't that be Poe's decision, not yours? Nobody was forcing Oogway to be the spiritual leader. Oogway was able to become that in his own time, so why should Poe need to rush? And in fact, how come the chameleon didn't summon Oogway from the spirit realm when she was taking the kung fu of all the masters? To not have Oogway in this and to not get Randall Duck Kim back was also a wasted potential. And yeah, and I will never stop loving the dynamic between Lee and Mr. Ping. They do feel like the heart and soul of the franchise at times, but in this movie they get no deep or heartfelt moments with Poe. They are just their quest to go and find Poe is just played for gags, and why would Mr. Ping and Lee not contribute to the fight some more? Poe did teach them kung fu in the third movie. Oh, and Poe's mother, she's the one that saved Poe's life from the massacre of the pandas in the second movie. At least the third movie mentioned her. She's not even mentioned once in this film. Like they just forgot about her. What the fuck? I'm not even that impressed by the animation. With the lower budget, it looks more like a straight to Netflix movie. And even Kung Fu Panda 3's animation from 8 years ago was way more breathtaking than this. This movie has no visually stunning moments like the spirit realm scenes in the third movie. It has no moments that will make you cry, like a Poe finding the truth in two, or or Poe and Lee remembering Poe's mother in the first. Yeah, that's another glaring flaw. This is the most light-hearted, comedic, and kid-friendly of the four. All of the drama from the previous three was stripped out of this one. It plays it way too safe and predictable. And the character of Zen, my god, the movie forces you to love her. Like, oh, forget the five. She's even better than the Furious Five. She's gonna be the next Dragon Warrior and the new protagonist of the Kung Fu Panda movies, whether you like it or not. So you better warm up to her. And Aquafina has done worse movies. Like, I mean, she's still vastly better than she was in Little Mermaid remake last year with that scuttlebutt shit. But even so, she shouldn't have replaced the Furious Five. In every scene when her and Poe were bonding, I'm like, why not just have Tigress in her scenes? And if she had just come on the journey with Poe and the Five, she would have been fine as a character. And then there's the chameleon. Most underwhelming Kung Fu Panda and most underwhelming DreamWorks villain ever. The first three villains, Tai Lung, Shen, and Kai, they killed people. They had a terrifying intro. What does the chameleon do in her intro? Push a bear down the stairs. Her motivation for being rejected from learning Kung Fu because she was too small is utterly ridiculous and bollocks. Did I'm sorry, Mantis is smaller than her, and yet he was taught kung fu. And the final battle between her and Poe, I think was underwhelming as hell. By far the worst final battle in this series. No emotional impact from, and the joke that Poe says, "Stand back, I'm gonna kick my butt," lost its flavor when they played it in the trailer a million times. Chameleon transforming into a clone of Poe, and then Zen siding with Poe over the chameleon, and Poe just easily knocking the chameleon out, and Tai Lung just takes the chameleon to the spirit realm. Talk about anticlimactic. And why couldn't the villain of this fourth movie be a Chinese dragon? That would have been far more menacing for an opponent for Poe. And why not have the villain of this film be a tigress's personal foe and tie into her? Because the previous three villains had a connection with somebody. The chameleon doesn't have a connection with anybody except for Zen. Oh, and the Den of Thieves, completely forgettable and disposable side characters, including the pangolin. I miss the pandas from the Panda Village from the third movie already. So yeah, at the end of the day, guys, DreamWorks had 8 years to make Kung Fu Panda 4, well, a fourth home run for one of their most successful franchise, and they blew it. This is the one Kung Fu Panda movie I'm not gonna buy on DVD and not gonna rewatch again anytime soon, because I don't feel like calling this one canon. To me, 3 is the true ending of this series and where they should have stopped. And fourth installments in franchises have worked before. Ice Age 4 is better than Kung Fu Panda 4. Shrek 4 is better than Kung Fu Panda 4. Toy Story 4 is better than Kung Fu Panda 4. Even the recent Barbie movie, Barbie and Stacy to the Rescue, is better than Kung Fu Panda 4. What are the odds of a animated made for Netflix Barbie movie turning out superior to a Kung Fu Panda movie? I give Kung Fu Panda 4 2 stars out of 5. Meh movie. So yeah, congrats DreamWorks. You concluded Kung Fu Panda on a high bang with the third movie, but now you've concluded it on such a whimper with this one. So yeah, you better up your game if you're going to go ahead with 5 and 6. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. And what are your thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 4? And do you agree that DreamWorks has had an underwhelming year this year thus far? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you next time where I give you the final 2 parts of the Harry Awards 2024, as well as my upcoming special video of if I wrote and directed Kung Fu Panda 4. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.